my name's Anna and I like to read, and in this video I will be doing a review of Frankly in Love by David Yoon. So back in September I went to the book signing because I was very excited for this book. There was a lot of hype. I remember over the summer I saw a book trailer, and also at BookCon they were doing a giveaway, but I didn't get the ARC, so I was a little bit disappointed, but I was excited because I found out that he was going to be signing in September, and I really wanted to go and get my book signed because I really enjoy David Yoon's writing and I really liked her books, so I figured that his writing would be good and I thought that the book was going to be good. However, I was very disappointed. This book was such a big disappointment, and I'm going to explain why. So the premise of the book is basically that Frank Lee is a Korean American teenage boy and he has fallen in love with a white girl named Britt. However, he knows that his parents wouldn't be happy about that because they only want him to date Korean girls. So he enlists the help of his family friend who is also Korean, and her name is Joy, and she's dating a Chinese boy named Woo, and she knows that her parents wouldn't be happy about that either, so they come up with a plan to pretend that they're dating while they're actually dating their significant others, and they pretend to fake date, and eventually they start dating and other things happen in this book. So I'm gonna explain why I didn't like this book. So first of all, I felt like there was no chemistry between Britt and Frank Lee. In the beginning we are told that they were friends for like 3 or 4 years. This is their senior year, so I'm guessing 4 years. And we never really get to see why he likes her. And then when he starts dating Joy, there was no chemistry between Joy and Frank either. I felt that the characters were underdeveloped. I felt that the author was telling way more than showing. I felt that he was trying to write a quirky, nerdy boy reminiscent of John Green's YA books back in the day, but it failed. It failed so badly. His writing was so awful. I felt like the characters were flat. I felt that the characters were underdeveloped. I switched at 20% to audio format because I had to finish this for the YA book club that I have been hosting. Otherwise, I would have honestly DNF'd this book. This was terrible. And I felt that there was zero chemistry between the love interests, and there were so many unnecessary teenage stereotypes in this book. Frank was such an unlikable character himself. He himself was racist and classist and sexist, and he mentions the hymen myth after he loses his virginity, and he was just an awful character. And on top of that, David Yoon, he tried to cram so many issues into this book that he could not focus on just one or two topics and themes in this book, that it failed. For example, he tried to cram racism, terminal illness, cultural identities, and homophobia, and the plot of the book was a mess and basically non-existent. So he crammed so many issues into one book. Well, he tried to cram so many issues, and he couldn't focus on one or two, or just one, that there was basically really no plot. Like, if somebody asked me what that book was about, I can't really tell you. There was just so much going on, and he couldn't focus on one thing, and it was bad. Like, characters were underdeveloped. Frank himself was such an unlikable character, and you don't want to keep reading a book and you don't want to root for that character if they're unlikable. So overall, Frankly in Love was not a good book. It was a letdown, and it read like a poorly written fan fiction that was in the first draft that should not have gotten published, or should have been revised so many times until it finally read like a good book. and then maybe it could have gotten published. But this was just awful. On top of that, I found out that this book is getting a sequel, which is so concerning because this was so awful. I gave it 2 stars, which I rarely give books 2 stars, but this was just awful. And I am so concerned that it's getting a sequel, because what is he gonna put in the sequel? So that is it for this video, and if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video soon.